Hey, what's up? I want to talk about, let's see, maybe my first psychedelic experience. I was skating home from school with a friend of mine, and he's like, hey man, I got something for you. And so he gave me a Entheogen, let's just call it that. And we're skating off, and he's like, well, I gotta go. And I'm like, whoa, what? And I only had smoked pot a couple times. And he's all, just don't be scared and enjoy the colors. And then he laughed and he left. So I made my way home, and I was supposed to work for a neighbor, and I was supposed to dig up a flower bed in the old man's backyard. And I can remember going through the back side fence and getting the tools, and everything started to kind of come up on me, and the old man came out and gave me some instructions and told me to rip up all these flowers and stuff, and he goes back inside. A good hour must have went by, and I just, for some reason, I was mesmerized by the flowers, and I didn't bother digging them up. I just stared at them. And they were brighter, more colorful, beautiful, and they seemed to be vibrating. And I was really just tripping on how amazing they were. And it was like looking at them through a new set of eyes. Unfortunately, it only seemed like a few minutes to me, but when I kind of came out of it, the old man was partially disabled, so he didn't come off of the deck much. And when I came around, I realized he was screaming at me. And I had dug up all around the flowers, everywhere that I was supposed to be digging up, but for some reason I didn't dig up any of the flowers. I just left them there. And he was screaming at me, I guess, for several minutes, trying to get my attention, and I was just oblivious to it. And when I finally turned around, I could hardly make any sense of the words coming out of his mouth. It was just rah, rah, rah. And I freaked out, and I threw my shovel down, and I ran out the side of the house, and I got fired after that. It was just a part-time little temporary job I was doing, unfortunately. I tuned into the flowers and dropped out of my work duties. And I went over and I sat on the tailgate of the truck that we had parked in my front yard, or in the driveway, and I must have just sat there for hours. And I can remember my sister walking up to me, and she just looked different. I could see all these geometrical patterns in her face, and I think because I was calm and I was pretty relaxed through the whole thing, I never really freaked out. I was in this, everything was time dilated, really slow. And she's talking to me, she goes, "You're messed up, aren't you?" And I was all, oh shit. And she goes, "Let me see your eyes." And she's all, whoa. And she goes, "I'm gonna tell Mom." And I'm all, whoa. And that fear kicked in, and like everything sped up. And I was like, wait, no, hey. I was like, no, it's because she's all right. And basically she went in the house, and she didn't rat me out or nothing, but I kind of got back into that calm state again, just sitting on the truck, just relaxed. And every time a car would drive by, it would just be like, doosh, 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 doosh. I would look at the trees, and they seemed to be shimmering and glowing, and like the grass had this, when I would stare at just a single point into the lawn, it would have this pattern, this geometric pattern that I could see everywhere. And then I just kind of remember as the sun started going down, I just went into my room and just kind of laid in my bed for the next several hours, just in my own head, and it was just information overload. And it was a little scary, but it was also really cool, really beautiful. And so that was my first experience. One of my next profound experiences, me and a good friend of mine, we were out just farting around, and we had stumbled across some entheogens, if you want to call them that. And we took a very hearty amount, and at first, I think there was another person with us at first, and then he left. His girlfriend came into the picture. There was an argument. We left the baseball park and headed to the hills. There was a bunch of other funny stuff that happened, but I could just remember it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, just sitting on the hillside, staring east, looking out over the city. And I've talked about this in my Christ consciousness video, where once I kind of calmed down from trekking around and stuff, I got in this real chill state, and we were just sitting on the hillside, and all of a sudden, my whole visual perspective changed. I felt this intense pressure in the back of my skull, this energy shooting up. All I could explain was like a vibration through my whole body, strange ringing in my ears, and just at first it was a little painful, and then it was a big release of just pure, I don't know what you want to call it, but it was amazing. And then instantly, my eyes were, at the time I didn't know the terminologies of what was happening to me, but when you listen to my videos and I talk about preternatural dilation, and I think I've mentioned cryptochrome proteins and all this crazy stuff, and our ability to tune into other electromagnetic waves, I saw something that kind of changed my life, and it was just like energy around everything, geometric shapes, colors that were just more vibrant and vivid. And I saw in the sky what I can only describe as a grid, but it was also in front of me. It's hard to describe, but it was the blue photon colored, me and my cousin called it the purple grid when we'd see it. And I saw my friend's aura. I saw tethers coming out of the top of this energy field, and it was going way up into the sky, connecting into this grid type thing, and there was energy shooting through it almost looked like an aurora borealis, but more geometric, kind of like an Alex Gray painting or something. And I remember watching down the hill. This was just before sunrise that I was really tuned into this. And now I know that there's this phenomenon called a pre-dawn electromagnetic induction, which amplifies the Earth's magnetic field to protect us from the sun and all this stuff, and it might have something to do with what we can tune in during that geologist wow moment, or that witching hour, or whatever you want to call it. But it's also when we're sleeping and producing dimethyltryptamine, rapid eye movement, or dreaming, or in that lucid world. But this experience was just amazing. I saw like rainbow colors around everything that was alive. I remember I stood up, and I grabbed a piece of grass and put it in my mouth. I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking beautiful. And I screamed something like, this is my life, and I'm part of everything. And there was a gentleman that was getting his morning paper down the hill in his driveway, and I could see just faint. My eyes weren't what they used to be, I think, because of a lot of times I was up tripping in the hills and so I got sunspots and stuff. But I'm almost 40 now, so I'm starting to wear glasses. But I saw like this glow around him with tethers coming up off of him into the sky, and all the vehicles on the carway, all the houses, wherever there was a person, I saw these strings coming up. Then I listened to like Manly P. Hall's work in the silver cord that the metaphysic teachers talk about and stuff, and I was wondering if that was something to do with it. I have other experiences when I was young that had similar experience where I think I was having an out-of-body experience when I was really young. Just like I felt like I'm asleep in my bed, but I'm in the living room watching TV with my parents, and there was always this silver string. This sounds crazy, but I would wake up sometimes with sleep paralysis where I couldn't move, and it'd scare the crap out of me. But I was always afraid to leave the house. It's just like I always knew I was laying in bed still. It was really weird. But that was not necessarily a psychedelic experience. Those were dreams or whatever experience from when I was a kid. But Another one of the trippiest things. I'm gonna make this short because it takes forever to upload. I was up in the mountains with my cousin, and I saw the time dilation kick in when he was waving his arms around. He looked like he had angel wings. But every time I would touch a rock, and with my eyes closed, the geometry in my eyes would change. And I'd pull my hand off, and then I'd put it back on, and I would see all these shapes. And then I'd grab a tree, and it would change. I would touch something, get grounded to it. I rolled around the grass, and it got overwhelming. It scared me. And then I was thinking about, well, I got rubber in my shoes, which is disconnecting me from the earth. So I kicked my shoes off and put my feet onto the rocks, and then closed my eyes. And I was getting all these geometric shapes and weird stuff coming in, and I'm wondering, like, am I connecting to each of these plants in a different way? But I don't know what I'm seeing. And then my cousin was telling me, as we're both staring at these rocks and touching them, are you seeing what I'm seeing, man? You know, it was like he tells me he was talking to the rocks. And I remember coming down the hill after I watched my cousin do some extremely amazing parkour type stuff down the mountainside. This crazy ability he had. I was too mesmerized and didn't have quite the control of my body to do that, or that he did. But I got down to the bottom of the hill, and I had like my first synesthetic kind of experience when a friend of mine comes walking up, and he tried to talk, and I had calmed down by then, and everything was really, I saw the plants shaking and vibrating and geometry everywhere, and when he tried to speak to me, I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was slowed down, but I saw colors and shapes and things coming out of his mouth, and I was like, what the, how am I supposed to make sense out of that? Like, what was that? It blew me away. And then another time later in life, this music was playing, and it seemed like it was disturbing the natural environment around me, because I could see these waves moving through the air when it was just really calm. And then my wife said, it's the music, it's disturbing everything. She said, turn it off. Yeah, just one moment. I said, so my wife said, it's the music, turn it off. So we turned it off, and then boom, harmony. And all of a sudden, everything had its own vibration. But I don't know. Interesting. I just thought I would want to share that with y'all. Some of my own personal experiences. Anyways, be blessed, one love.